Good evening, you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, a wood is planted to commemorate the man who discovered longitude, and we see how food banks feed the young. And joining me in the studio is Matthew Jeffrey from Grimsby Minster Bellringers. Welcome to Estuary TV News. I'm Hugh Riches. First of all, it's over to Richard Morris for the news.
Hello there. Humberside Police are warning motorists of the dangers of driving in icy conditions. With Christmas fast approaching, they are advising drivers on how they can stay safe. Casualty Reduction Officer for the South Bank, PC Barry Gardner, says people need to be more cautious.
Coming to work this morning, I saw a number of vehicles in the fog that either didn't have the lights on at all or just had side lights illuminated. That's one concern that I have. I think the message is to be out there to be seen and to be able to see as well. This time of the year especially, it's important that you're checking your vehicle before you get out, before you get into it, perhaps on a weekly basis, ensuring that your lights are working correctly, functioning correctly, and also looking at your tyres. The tyres are really important. It's the only thing between you and the road at the end of the day. The legal limit is 1.6 millimetres of tread, but I would suggest that you should be looking at changing your tyres around about 2.5 millimetres of tread.
The Withensea International Pirates Festival, featured on Estuary TV a few weeks back, sponsored 2 specially made colostomy bags for children. The bags, which are made by Judith Sperling, who sent us these photos, mean that children don't have to carry around standard colostomy bags, which can make children uncomfortable and tend to be more plain looking. The charity itself is looking for more support for this cause. If you'd like to find out more, you can search International Children's Ostomy Educational Foundation on the internet. The Green Party for Grimsby and Cleethorpes has chosen their candidates for next year's general election in May. We spoke to Vicky Dunn, the candidate for Grimsby, about the party's electoral prospects.
Next year's election for 15th May 2015, it's quite an exciting business because for the first time in certainly our party's memory, we've got 4 candidates for all of the wards across the south bank of the Humber. So that's Grimsby, Cleethorpes, which includes Immingham and Barton, Scunthorpe and Brigg and Goole. So we've got full sweep, thousands and thousands of people have got the opportunity to vote Green, as many of them did in last year's Euro elections, and Green Party's on a roll. We hope and trust that more people are going to do so.
That's all from me, and I'll be back with more news soon. Bye for now.
In the 18th century, ships were lost and mariners killed because navigators couldn't know their distance east or west without accurate chronometers. Lincolnshire man John Harrison invented that timepiece after several attempts, thus winning the prize of longitude. To commemorate this local genius, a wood is to be grown along the banks of the River Freshney. Dave Nunn navigates.
John Harrison. It's a name that people may not be familiar with. However, a new project in Grimsby aims to remember his life-changing achievements.
It all started 300 years ago when the Queen Anne Act of Longitude enabled John Harrison to devote his life to inventing an accurate timepiece, a chronometer, which enabled us even today to find longitude accurately.
Harrison's marine chronometer earned him worldwide recognition. His H4C watch is on display in the Royal Maritime Museum in Greenwich, and there are memorials to him around the country. The longitude wood will add Lincolnshire, where Harrison lived in Barrow-upon-Humber, to that list.
It's all about the determination to help society, help mankind, bring about an interest in younger people as well, in their natural surroundings, and actually show people that there is an awful lot more in life than just simply sitting back and not partaking. This is going to provide exercise, health, scientific interest. John Harrison was far more than just a clockmaker. He had an interest, he was a polymath, he had an interest in so much, and here today we are going to build something that's going to enable people to follow his ideals.
The longitude wood will breathe new life into land in Grimsby that may have once been a landfill. It's brought the community together, and it's hoped it will provide inspiration to other communities throughout the country.
We just love to see everybody come out and get involved in tree planting and caring for their local woods. The Woodland Trust do run a scheme where communities can apply for free trees. So they're available, just go online and look for Woodland Trust free trees, and we'd encourage communities to do that where they can.
The Longitude Wood is the embodiment of John Harrison's life, providing opportunities for research while giving something back to the community as a whole, and it's a fitting tribute to someone who changed the course of the age of sail.
You're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, the Reverend Graham Culver joins us for reflections, and Dan Kemp will be bringing us the sport. Joining me now in the studio is Matthew Jeffrey from the Grimsby Minster Bell Ringers, who has the grand-sounding title of Ringing Master. There have been bell ringers at the church for many years, probably many centuries, and the current group is part of the northern branch of the Lincoln Diocesan Guild of Church Bell Ringers. Matthew, many thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming.
How did you get into bell ringing? How did you get into campanology?
Well, I used to sing in the church choir at Gainsborough, where I grew up as a kid, and I always used to like the sound of the bells as they were ringing just before the services. And I'm a bit of a musician myself. I play piano, guitar, and the church at Gainsborough had an open day where members of the public could just walk up the tower and see the town from the top, which was really nice. And they also had a bell ringing demonstration, so I watched that, and I was interested, and so I asked the ringing master there when they practiced, and started going ringing, and that was back in 1987. So it was about 27 years.
So you've got a long history of bell ringing. You must have been a child when you started doing it.
Yeah.
Your group at Grimsby Minster, are you looking for new people? Are you looking for new ringers?
We could do with some more. Yeah. I mean, we have just enough ringers to ring all the 10 bells that are there. But the trouble is they don't all come at once. There's usually enough about 5 or 6 people, which is okay. We can get by on that. But I would like there to be some more people that like to come and sort of learn the art, really, which would be nice.
So a peal of bells is effectively a musical instrument that takes a team of people to play, and you need at least 10 people in order to ring all 10 bells.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and we sorry.
That's all right. No, but I was just thinking about how you need more people, and that if you don't have enough people turning up, you can't get the full beauty of that instrument's music. You can't play it fully.
No.
Tell me a little bit more about the bells themselves at Grimsby Minster.
Well, there are 10 bells, as I've just explained. The weight of them, the lightest one weighs probably about 4¼ hundredweight, which is about 480 pounds, and then the heaviest weighs getting on for a ton.
Right.
So I think up in the tower. You've got something like about 3 tons of metal up there, which is quite a lot.
And how old are our bells? How old are Grimsby's bells?
Well, the 3 of them date back to 1830. So it's like nearly 200 years, I think. That's the year they were cast. And the 2 lightest bells date back to about 1962. And they're also the work of several different founders as well. I think 2 of them are from John Taylor and Company in Loughborough, which is one of only 2 surviving founders left in the country. And
really, there are only two church bell making operations in the whole of the United Kingdom.
Yeah. There's John Taylor and Company in Loughborough, and there's also Whitechapel in London.
Yeah, that's very famous, of course, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you said these are 19th century bells, the oldest ones, but it's a medieval church, and bell ringing goes back a lot further than that in churches, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. They were probably introduced into Christian churches in about the 5th century.
Right.
So it is literally hundreds and hundreds of years ago.
1,500 years ago. Yep.
Yeah. And then during the course of time, the way they were rung was from a simple spindle, which used to be chimed from a rope down below, And then people started to experiment with the bells and the fittings to try and make them ring a little bit easier. So they fitted a quarter wheel to the bell, and then that became a half wheel, and it made it a lot easier to ring.
Well, you mentioned that one of your bells weighs a ton. How fit and athletic and strong do you have to be to ring a bell that weighs a ton?
You don't really have to be that fit, really, because the way the bells are hung is they're hung upwards like that, and then it doesn't take a lot to pull the bell off the balance, but to start off with, the bells are downwards, facing downwards, so that they're safe. Like if you just pull a rope by accident, it won't set the bell.
Right,
going
have
around.
it tumbling over.
Yeah, that's right. So what we do is we ring the bell up, so we get it from the down position, we get it swinging around further and further until it does end up in the up position. So the bell is ready to be rung.
That's sort of an intensely acute sense of balance that you need if you're swinging a ton's weight of metal until you've got it absolutely in equilibrium facing upwards. I guess.
I mean, I suppose if you are ringing a bell that heavy, you do need to have a little bit of strength, maybe. Yeah. But it's with the other bells that as a lighter bells, it doesn't take much to just pull it off and get ringing comfortably.
A set of bells, it is a musical instrument, of course. How are your bells tuned?
They're actually tuned to the to E major, the major scale. It's like the highest one is G sharp, so it goes like that. I think just about all the bells in the country are tuned to a major scale. There are some churches that have got 12 bells, like Lincoln Cathedral's got 12. And there are a couple of churches that have 16 bells. There's one in Birmingham, and I think there's one in Dublin as well that's got 16 bells.
You're talking about major scales, and a splendid little piece of singing there, by the way. How musical do you have to be if you want to come and join the bell ringers?
You don't really have to have a lot of musical knowledge, although musicians do tend to have quite a good sense of rhythm, which helps in bell ringing. Like when you come to ringing. Ringing chord changes and methods and things like that. But just about anybody can come and give it a go, really. At Grimsby, there are quite a lot of steps up to the ringing room at Grimsby. So, and it also helps if you're not like massively.
It's a narrow
big
passageway.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it is.
So simple people with a bit of stamina is what you're looking for.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. How often do you practice, and where and when should people come along if they want to join you?
We practice every Friday at 7 o'clock. Although we don't practice.
Friday evenings practice, and presumably Sunday mornings playing as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but we don't actually practice every Friday. Sometimes we don't practice.
Forgive me to cut you short, but if people want to come along and join you, they should go to the church and find out how to apply there.
Yeah.
Matthew, thank you very much for joining us.
Okay.
The recession of recent years has caused hardship in this region, few worse hit than the young. For some, money's too short for food, so food banks have become a part of the local economy and the local culture. These facilities provide the most basic requirements for life, for free and without stigma, as James Dunn reports.
If someone aged 16 to 25 hits a difficult point in their life, the YMCA could offer a helping hand. But they also need help from the government, and that's not always as reliable as it could be.
When they're waiting for benefits, when their claim is being set up, there can be a time where it's particularly stressful. Not only do they try and make new friends, they're living in a new environment, but they often are concerned about where is their meal going to come from? Where are they going to get money to pay for the food, to pay for the electric?
When Martin moved here, he had no option but to ask for help from the centre itself.
Without money, it does hit home badly because you can't get any food in, you don't know when your electric's going to run out, and you don't know if you're secure in your placement.
Although not all young people are relying on food banks.
There aren't reasons why people shouldn't have money for food in here, because there aren't like massive druggies or whatever else is suspected to be in here aren't actually here. The people are quite head screwed on, you know, they've just had a bad experience, or maybe they've just had a breakdown or something, that's why they're here.
The country is now officially out of recession, but the rise of food banks shows that for the very poorest, things aren't necessarily improving. In fact, more and more young people are finding themselves in desperate measures.
We have, over the last 4 years, we've seen a 430% increase of young people accessing our help through our Daily Bread food larder. I think one thing that's quite useful is to give young people a voice and to feed this back up through the channels, if you like, so to the local authorities, to the councils, to the government, those that obviously are making some of the decisions in terms of welfare reforms that are having impact on these young people. So if we can do our part as a collective, as agencies and organisations, to give these young people a voice and to feed that up through the appropriate channels.
And now it's over to Reflections, this week from the Reverend Graham Culver of Grimsby Baptist Church.
Here we're getting ready for Christmas. The church isn't decorated yet, but we are planning carol services. Flyers are being printed, posters are being prepared, and we're getting ready to tell the story again about the birth of the Lord Jesus, getting ready to talk about how his birth was announced to shepherds in the fields, getting ready to talk again about how he was visited by magi who brought very strange gifts. You know, a number of years ago, John Betjeman, who was the poet laureate, wrote a little poem about getting ready for Christmas. And he talks about holly in the manor house, and he talks about decorated shops, and he talks about people in the Dorchester Hotel. And then he asks a really good question. He asks the question, is it true? And in the verse that follows, he says, you know, if it is true, then it's an astonishing truth. He asks, is it true that God became a human being in Palestine? Now, that's the central claim of the Gospels. The central claim of John's Gospel is that the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And if it is true, it's an astonishing truth. You know, Christians, I think, particularly love Christmas because it reminds them that this is what your God is like. Your God is not the distant control freak God, not the kind of God who's like a cosmic puppet master, distant and uninterested. Your God is not some kind of unknowable spiritual force. No, this is what your God is like. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. God became a human being. God is the kind of God who would go into a mother's womb, be born as a baby in order to become a human being. An astonishing truth. Is it true? Great question to ask at this time of year.
Now it's time to look back at the weekend's news, and joining me is Dave Nunn. Dave, what's been happening over the last couple of days? What have you found?
So obviously with today being the first day of December, we've got lots of stories about Christmas trees. We've got the tree for Trafalgar Square passed through Immingham Docks at the weekend.
Ah, yes, that's the great tree that goes up in London. That's 3 weeks before it's erected or does it go straight down to Trafalgar Square?
I'm going to presume it goes straight down to Trafalgar Square.
And every year it comes through Immingham Docks, and there's a bit of a celebration for that, isn't there?
Yeah, because it's brought over by DFDS, which obviously operates at Immingham Docks. So yeah, every year they bring it down, have a bit of a celebration, a bit of a send-off for it.
And this is the tree that's donated by the King of Norway, or the people of Norway, isn't it? To as a sort of thanks for sorting them out during the Second World War. And every year the King of Norway comes over and makes a speech to switch on the lights. No, I think that's the case. A speech in Norwegian to which no British people ever listen, but apparently it's very popular in Norway. You have another Christmas tree story as well.
Yeah, so obviously November was quite a rainy month, had double the average rainfall, and that apparently is very good news for Christmas trees.
Christmas trees like wet weather, do they? I suppose it stops all the needles falling off.
I suppose any plants or trees like wet weather really, don't they? But I mean,
and we have a lot of land under cultivation in our region that's growing Christmas trees.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it mentions mentions one. I know there's one down in Stanborough, and I know that they grow tons of Christmas trees every year. So any rain that makes the Christmas trees grow better is good news, really.
Yeah, well, I think I could do with a sort of slightly dry Christmas tree and a bit better weather. But a rainy November, that's good for Christmas trees. Is that the message?
Indeed, yep. So we've got a couple of other things. We've got bus passengers hailing the arrival of 28 new state-of-the-art buses to the stagecoach fleet in Grimsby and Cleethorpes.
Right. What's so special about the new buses?
They've got high-back luxury seats and Wi-Fi as well.
Splendid. So, what, you can email whilst you're on the bus?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, they needed updating anyway. They weren't the best buses. I've been on them before. Some of them sound like they were going to explode, but as long as they're more updated and have Wi-Fi, people will be happy, won't they?
And I think they've also got that sort of tilting floor thing, haven't they, so that people can get on off more.
Yeah,
more
I don't know if they currently do or not, but I know the new ones definitely will have that feature on them. So
that's well, I'll definitely be one of the first to ride that. Dave, thank you very much for coming in and telling us about the weekend news. Now it's over to Dan Kemp with the sport.
Hull City lost 3-0 away to Manchester United on Saturday. Chris Smalling, Wayne Rooney and Robin van Persie goals gave the home side the win and now leaves the Tigers clear of the relegation zone on goal difference. Next up for City is away at Everton on Wednesday. Scunthorpe United fared better with a 2-1 win at Barnsley. Marcello Trotter gave the Tykes the lead, but a Paddy Madden double before half-time gave the Iron the 3 points and moves them up to 21st in League One. Grimsby Town drew 1-1 at the conference's bottom club Telford. Jack McCreth scored for the Mariners, who remain second, but are now 8 points behind runaway leaders Barnet. And North Ferriby United beat Mickleover Sports in the third qualifying round of the FA Trophy, Tom Denton with a hat-trick. It wasn't a good weekend for the Hull Stingrays in the Elite League. On Saturday, the Rays' 2-game undefeated streak came to an end with a heavy 4-0 home loss to the Nottingham Panthers at the Hull Arena. Panthers goaltender Matthias Modig posted a 23-game save shutout as the Stingrays were blanked out for only the second time in this campaign. And Sunday didn't go much better. Corey Tanaka and Jan Turcott had given the Rays an early 2-0 lead at the Edinburgh Capitals, but after a scoreless second half, the home side pegged back with 2 goals in 17 seconds, and the Gardner Conference clash was then decided on penalty shots that went in favour of the hosts. And that's all for the sport.
Well, that's all for tonight. Tomorrow my guest will be Tracy Todd to talk about confidence building. Contact us in the usual ways, please, if you have a story for us. Email news@estuary.tv or contact us through social media via Twitter or Facebook, or pick up the phone and call 0147231 5553. Thank you very much to Dave. Thank you very much to Matthew Jeffrey from the Grimsby Bellringers. Hope you'll join me again for the news tomorrow, but from now, goodbye.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tuesday will be overcast with outbreaks of rain at first. Dry and brighter conditions, however, will gradually spread southeast, feeling cold with maximum temperatures of 7 degrees. Wednesday will be dry with sunny periods after a frosty start. However, cloud will be present throughout the day with maximum temperatures of 9 degrees.